Hello. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, so I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. I'll just wait for 5 more minutes for the others to join, and we'll start then. Have you guys all downloaded the material which was provided to you yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Okay. Yesterday we had an informal meeting. The purpose of the informal meeting was to make everyone understand how everything is going to happen. We did the Facebook one, and we also did the Zoom one. I hope other people also join, but now they're late. I'm just going to wait for 2 more minutes because if I actually start late, most people might call me unprofessional. So it's going to be the same class, the way we used to have it, without the material and without, like, you won't be given things in front of the like you won't be given things from the printer, but it's basically going to be the same class. You have to respect each other. You don't have to make fun of each other. You have to do whatever is required from you, and most probably it won't be a very bad experience. Okay, let's start with the very first thing, which is, now I just want to clarify something, that I'm basically starting from the very beginning. Even if you were having, like, you were in the first week, in the second week, it doesn't matter. There has been a break of 1.5 months because most people did not even take those complementary classes. So I would require you guys to just focus on this thing for now. Now, how many people do we have? We have only 10 people. Now, you guys can, I think most people have put it on mute. You guys can unmute it if you want to. Okay, let's start. If you're talking about Ielts, there are 4 modules which you have to deal with. One is speaking, the other one is reading, listening, and writing. These are the 4 things which they are going to judge you on, and these are the things which are not from a very difficult level. That means they're not from GRE or GMAT level. They are somewhat understandable. These are the 4 modules on the basis of which they're going to grade you. You have speaking, you have reading, you have listening, and you have writing part. Now, when you have these 4 parts, most people tend to believe that this is where they have to work. They believe that if we are going to practice more, we are going to end up with a very good score. If you're going to practice more, we're going to buy more books, we're going to get a very good score. But that is not true, for the reason that they're not only going to judge you on these 4 things, they're going to judge you on 4 other things also, and those are grammar, vocabulary, ideas, and coherence. Now, I want you guys to give me some feedback also as we are doing this thing. Can you tell me, Mr. Who's there? Mr. Ahmed, can you hear me? Mr. Ahmed Taha, can you hear me? Mm, Mr. Athar Rahmani, can you hear me? Okay, Mr. Ansar.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, I'll just talk to you because you were the first one to respond. When you're talking about grammar, what do you understand by grammar?
By grammar, I think that your sentence is having a sense, a meaning to it.
Now I'm going to ask you because I think others are not responding or they have actually, they don't have the audio enabled. Now, when you talk about grammar, grammar is not something which you can learn in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, because it's something which you have done over a period of time. Okay, there's some noise coming. In case there's some
Yes,
noise
sir.
coming, please mute it because others are going to disturb. They're going to get disturbed. Now, when you when you are going to work on your grammar,
I think one of them is with the family.
okay, who is with the family, please? You have to maintain silence, please. You have to go to a place which is not going to create any kind of noise for other people, right?
I think there's a TV running in the background.
It's fine now. I'm just going to mute now. Okay. So when you're talking about grammar, what happens, what normally happens is that people tend to believe that if they are going to work on grammar, they would be they would actually be learning more if they just start from the very beginning. Like there's so many people who say that okay, give just refer a book, just tell me about a book. But you have to think practically. If you are now going to work on grammar, you won't be able to understand things the way you could have understood it if you would have done it like 4 or 5 years ago, or even 10 to 15 years ago. So you have to work on your practical grammar rather than understanding okay what is noun, what is verb. Yes, it's good, but it's no longer practical as far as Ielts is concerned. As far as Ielts is concerned, they are going to be working or they would be requiring you to work on complex sentences. They want you not to make punctuation errors. They want you not to make uh, errors related to capitalization, errors related to commas, all those things. So it's going to be advanced English. The second thing is vocabulary. Do I have you, Mr. Ansab?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, I want all of you to take out the document which was shared with you, and it was related to vocabulary. There are going to be a lot of lessons which I would be providing to you guys. But I want you to take out a lesson which is named TOEFL vocab lessons. It's not for TOEFL. It's basically for Ielts. I want you to take it out, please. All of you. Take out the
Yes,
document.
sir.
So what word do you see, Mr. Athar?
So lesson one, abroad, abrupt, acceptable, acclaim, actually, adverse, advice, attractive, autonomous, disapproval, disruptive, haphazardly,
Yes,
ideal,
it's going to be haphazardly. It would be
haphazardly,
haphazardly. Ideal,
haphazardly,
persistent, wide. Now,
persistent, wide.
if you look at you have seen this one. Is Mr. Ahmed
Yes,
Taha
sir.
over here? I think he's not in it.
Yes, sir.
You're here.
Yes, sir. I'm in.
Good, very good. Now, please take out your TOEFL vocab lessons, the vocabulary one which I gave you. You have 10 words. If you look at this one, what is another word for widely? Take out, all of you, take out your lesson, please. Ms. Zainab Ali.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please take out your TOEFL vocabulary lessons. I want you to move to the page where they were requiring you to match the following statements. Choose the synonym. Please choose the synonym. What is another word for widely?
So
Broadly.
it will be broadly.
Broadly. Autonomous?
Independent.
Abrupt.
Autonomous. Autonomous is something which is independent. You would
Sir,
have,
free.
yes, you have the list. Please take out the list. Go to that page. Autonomous is independent. If someone says that that university is autonomous, they're talking about the fact that the university is independent.
Independent.
Okay, the third one. Advice?
Suggestion.
Suggestion.
Yes. Would it be suggestion or suggestion?
Suggestion.
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 Never suggestion. Why? Can you tell me why is it not suggestion? Why is it suggestion?
Suggestion.
If you have this word, how do you say it?
Question.
Question.
Question or question?
Question.
Question.
Yes, call it
Question.
question. Now, if you have this word, how do you say it? How do you say this?
Relation.
Sorry?
Relation. Relation.
Yes, you don't say relation, you say relation.
Yes.
Now, please focus
Relation.
over here very carefully. If you have TION and the letter before TION is a consonant, if the letter before TION is a consonant, consonant is what? The letters apart from A, E, I, O, and U, you have to pronounce it as question, not question. Question.
Question.
And look over here. What is this?
A relation.
A is a vowel.
Is it a vowel or wall?
Vowel.
Vowel.
Wall.
Yes, W is silent. It's not vowel, it's
Vowel.
wall,
It's wall.
right?
Wall.
So you have to say
Wall.
relation rather than relation. It's going to be relation. Got it?
Relate.
Okay.
You know about relation, right? But if you have a word like question, people normally say question. It's wrong. If you have
Question.
if you have, if someone is not understanding, please tell me right now. I'll repeat it in Urdu. This is the word TION. If there is a letter before TION, which is a consonant, consonant होते हैं B, C, all those letters apart from A, E, I, O, U. So you have to call it question.
Question.
Got it? I want you, okay, I think my voice is also now echoing in someone's phone or computer. Please try to understand that others won't be able to listen properly if you have to stay away from your family members. This is something I told you guys yesterday. Away from your family members, away from your other side of noise, or else I would have to mute everyone. Okay, now please write down vocabulary, you have to do 2 lessons from this one every day. I would be giving you extra material also, but you have to do 2 lessons from this book every day. There are 30 lessons. This is not easy or difficult vocabulary. This is vocabulary which is at a moderate level. I want you guys to work on 2 lessons every day.
Okay, sir.
Fine?
Yes, sir.
Now I want you to open the next document, which is called Master Ielts Essays. Please open the document which states Master Ielts Essays.
Yes, sir.
I want you to go to page number 53. Do you see page number 53?
Yes, sir.
What is written?
Yes. Ideas for IELTS topic.
Okay. And move to the next page. What does the next page state?
Common IELTS topics.
Okay. Mr. Hansab, can you read these for me from 1 to 10?
I'm still opening the document.
Mr. Ahmed Taha,
Uh,
read it please from 1 to 5.
Number 1, advertising. Number 2, animal rights, testing on animals, vegetarianism, zoos. Number 3, cities, urbanization, problems of city life. Number 4, crime, police, punishment, prisons, rehabilitation, capital punishment. Number 5, education, homeschooling, bad behavior, corporal punishment, single-sex education, streaming, grouping children according to ability.
Okay, good. Now, when I was asking you guys yesterday about your work routine, and I was asking how many of you are working, and most of you were telling me that we're not working these days. Some people told me that they're working. If you're
Yes, sir.
working, you would be required to do this homework on the weekend. But if you're not working, it means you have ample time to not only enhance your skills related to IELTS, but also enhance your skills related to knowledge and also your English. I want you guys to write down that by next week, Monday, you have to submit a very short paragraph on each of these topics. A short paragraph of about 35 to 50 words only. Now, what is the purpose of making you guys do it? These are basically the common IELTS topics from where they normally extract the essay topics. What happens is that when people have not acquired enough information for IELTS, they tell me, okay, we did not know about the topic. Well, the examiner is not telling you not to know about the topic. Before we start our essays tomorrow, like we'll be having the essay class tomorrow, you need to realize that acquiring information is going to enable you to have better command on writing, because you would be having ideas and you would be able to at least understand what is being asked. In the regular class, I used to have like half of the class telling me, no, we don't have ideas about it because we don't know about it. You guys have 1 week starting from today to read about them. I don't want you to memorize them. Like, what is the meaning of corporal punishment, Mr. Ansar?
For what? What did you say?
What is the meaning of corporal punishment?
Corporate punishment.
Yes, corporal. Have you opened your document for Master IELTS Essays?
Yes, sir, I've opened
Yes,
page
what is the
53.
meaning of corporal punishment?
So is it in common IELTS topics?
Yes, it is in the common IELTS topics. It is topic number 5, and I think it's the second line of topic number 5.
Sir, some physical punishment.
Yes, it is called physical punishment. Now, I'll ask one more. Miss Asma. Miss Asma? Isaac,
Yes, sir.
are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you please tell me
Yes,
what
sir.
is genetic engineering?
Genetic engineering is something in which we use genes and the products which are derived from genes.
Okay. And what are genetically
Yes.
modified foods? Like what do they normally do with genetically modified foods?
Actually, sir, these are also known as the hybrid foods in which we take the good genes or good habits and all those good substances from one material, and we take these and we put it in another to make a hybrid, and that hybrid will be much better than the previous ones from which we have taken the genes.
Excellent.
So this is
I
all
did not
about
know.
that.
I did not know
It's
you
also
had.
hybridization.
Very good. See the kind of information she has. Now, some people would say, no, we would be able to write it down, but she had information about it. She gave a very good definition. She explained it. And if she gets an essay like that, she would actually end up writing something down. There are going to be so many people who would deprive themselves of getting a very good score just because they don't even know what the topic is talking about. Now, Mr. Athar, can you please tell me what is the meaning of concept written on point number 16, which says consumerism?
Communism, society, communism.
What is the meaning of
No,
consumerism?
sir, I don't have any idea about it.
Okay, who wants to answer it? Ms. Zainab Ali, if you want to answer it?
Sir, something related with goods or services
Okay, Ms. Asma?
better to mention related to social economic status of like, goods and services, something like that.
Yes, right now the entire world is moving away from consumerism. You see that no longer brands are important, no longer people want to acquire wealth, people just want to acquire basic commodities, basic necessities, because they believe that in the next 4 or 5 months, or even in the next 2 3 months, nothing good is going to happen. They would all end up, we all believe that the society would change, but we are hoping that it does not change. Consumerism is when you're going to buy things which are not going to be very much productive as far as the society is concerned, like buying branded bags, buying expensive watches, like buying expensive cars. All those would be regarded as consumerism, right?
Yes, sir.
These are 24 topics. These are 24 topics. In case you believe I have given you or I have inundated you guys with a lot of work, if you believe कि मैंने आपको बहुत काम दे दिया है, let's divide it. From 1 to 12, you will write paragraphs for next Monday. From 13 to 24, you will write it for the next Monday, right? But I want you all to read about these topics so that you could at least be able to work on, you could be able to work on that essay, or else doing the essay would be very difficult. The last one is coherence. Now, I have some students, for instance, it is Miss Asma, Miss Zainab Ali, and I think for some days it was also Miss Bisma. For the last 6 weeks, I was conducting classes and I was also conducting individual speaking exams. You guys would know it if you were taking those. Could anyone tell me, Mr. Answer, can you tell me what is the meaning of coherence?
Coherence is
This is the fourth one, the fourth point which I have mentioned. It is written down coherence and cohesion. What is the meaning of coherence and cohesion?
so the forming of one paragraph with the another one.
Yes, connecting one paragraph to the other one. Now, you guys have to understand that when someone is going to ask you, if someone is going to ask you to speak something, if someone is going to ask you to write down something, they are going to always, they are always going to judge you on these four things. These four things would always exist every day I would be sharing quizzes. I would be sharing different assignments with you guys on the group which we have made. And you have to work on these things every single day. What do I mean by every single day? I think all of you have taken that class in which we worked on grammar review and the coherence and cohesion. But most people just work on it on the first day. They they forget to do it afterwards. Like Mr. Answer, what would you be doing after the class? What would you be
But
doing?
I remember where we left off.
Sorry? Tell me 2 things you would be doing after the class.
Yesterday?
No. Tell me 2 things which you will do after this class. What would you do? What 2 things would you do after this class?
Okay. I will probably read essays.
Okay. What else?
And next is some reading exercises.
Okay, I'll probably do some essays. Moreover, I'll be doing some reading exercises.
Yes.
When you are required to speak or when you're required to write down something, you always have to understand that if you are not having coherence and cohesion, if you're not having coherence and cohesion, better ideas, vocabulary and grammar, you're going to end up with a lower band. Now, right after this session, I'm going to share a grammar quiz in which I would be testing your command on complex sentences and everything. I would require you guys to do that thing, and below that, I want each one of you to specify the score you got. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
मैं आपको फिर से बता देता हूँ. After this class, I'm going to go on Facebook and I'm going to repeat the same lecture, not a very extended one, but it would be like about 30 to 40 minutes. And right after that lecture, it's an optional one for people who were not able to understand this thing over here. They'll be able to do the same thing again. I just want to clarify one thing, that when you are done with this thing, I would be sharing a quiz, a grammar quiz. I would be sharing a grammar quiz which would be having 25 questions. I want you guys to attempt it and specify your score in the comment box so that I could know what you got. Fine?
Yes.
Okay, let's move towards the format of the exam. Now I want you guys to concentrate. Those people who don't know about the format, how many of you are going for the computer-based exam? No one?
Actually, sir, I want to ask you, is there any advantage to take a computer test as compared as if you are not going for paper exam?
Okay,
Or paper exam is better?
Yes, I'll be talking
Okay.
about both of them. First, I'll tell about the paper-based, then I'll tell about the computer-based. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, let's start with the paper-based exam. The paper-based exam is offered on Thursday or Saturday. So these are the 2 days when the exam is offered. One is Thursday and the other one is Saturday. The exam has a reporting time. After the reporting time, you have the exam time and then you have the ending time. The exam has a reporting time of 11:30 a.m. The exam normally starts at 1 p.m. and the exam ends by 5 p.m. Now these are the 3 things. These are the 3 things you need to understand. When you are going for your when you are going for your IELTS exam, you would probably wake up. You would probably wake up. Guys, I'm going to say this thing for the very last time. You have to ensure silence. Other people would get disturbed. If you are in a place where there are other people, just mute your audio so that others will not hear that voice. Okay, let's move back. There is going to be a reporting time. You will wake up at 10 or 9:30. You're going to prepare yourself. You will go over there.
This voice is coming from Mr. Harun Tawfiq's mic. Mr. Harun, please make it mute.
Okay. Now you're going to go there and there is going to be a reporting time. When you will reach over there, you will meet a lot of people. They would be sitting over there, standing over there, and they'll tell you, मैं IELTS 5वीं बार दे रहा हूँ, मैं IELTS 8वीं बार दे रहा हूँ, I'm taking IELTS the 10th time, I'm taking the IELTS the 12th time. You don't have to talk to them. This is something I tell every student. If you talk to them, they're going to take your motivation level down to the point that you will be that much scared of the exam that as soon as you go over there, you will mess up. We all have different stories. We all have different experiences. Perhaps you were able to develop your English in a better manner over the years. You don't have to, first of all, you don't have to get inspired by a person's success story. Similarly, you don't have to get demotivated by someone who has failed the exam. We all have different stories. Now, Mr. Ahmed Taha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you are going to go over there, they're going to form a line. You will form a line.
Yes, sir.
By 12:30, they will ask you to go inside the examination center. Over there, you are not allowed to take water. You're not allowed to take any chocolate bars or anything. You will go inside. If you have taken O levels and A level exams, you would know about it. But if you go inside now, it's basically a very big hall. I would also be talking to the EU and British Council, but this is similar for all of them. It's going to be a very big hall. As soon as you enter, you would be daunted by it. आपको थोड़ा बहुत डर लगेगा. You will say that, okay, what a big hall and all those invigilators over there. Now, the exam time is 1 p.m., but they do not always start at 1 p.m. When you go and sit over there, you are going to be given a candidate number. Now, please write it down. When you do your registration, you are like 3 to 4 days before your exam, you are sent a student number. You are sent a student number, or you could just take a printout of your registration and you have to take it with you. So on your registration, they are going to give you a student number and they're going to specify a seat for you. You can't just sit anywhere you want to. You are going to sit in the place where you are supposed to sit. The second thing is, what is going to be the format of the exam? This exam is going to be like this: listening, reading, and writing. Now, there was a question that Mr. Answer was asking yesterday about answer sheets. For 10 to 15 people, 10 से 15 लोगों के लिए, for 10 to 15 people, there is going to be one invigilator. You would be given an answer sheet, and one side of the answer sheet is going to be the listening exam. The other side of the answer sheet is going to be the reading exam. They are going to give you a headphone. It's going to be a Bluetooth device. They're going to check whether you are able to understand things better. Unfortunately, you cannot adjust your volume on IELTS. Are you guys getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For
Yes,
the
sir.
listening exam, you cannot adjust your volume. The first module you would be attempting is going to be your listening exam.
Listen.
Please remember, the actual exam is not very hard. Now, why am I saying this thing? There are some books which are very difficult. There are some books which are easier. As we will progress, I might give you a listening exam on your first attempt. Like I'll be sharing some listening exams from, like after tomorrow. You will say, okay, I got 34 out of 40. I got 31 out of 40. But as soon as you move to the third week, you might get 27. It does not mean that your performance went down. It just means I gave you an exam which was harder. So you have to understand, and please remember one more thing. When people go inside that exam and they start with their listening exam, they're not even prepared. They're not mentally prepared. Now, what is the meaning of not being mentally prepared? You woke up, went over there, you waited for 2 hours, and all of a sudden,
Hello.
yes,
Sir, are you listening?
yes, okay. And all of a sudden, what would happen? All of a sudden, what would happen is that they'll give you a listening exam. If you watch movies, if you watch seasons, after doing 4 exams, you would never have any problem with the listening exam. Got it?
Yes.
Yes.
But we would be working on all those strategies and everything. The second thing you need to understand is the reading exam. Please write it down. If you are an academic student, reading is going to be a nightmare for you. It's going to be a nightmare. It is going to be very difficult. It is going to be difficult because most people don't read and they tend to believe that reading is all about tips and strategies. However, it is all about retention, stamina, vocabulary, grammar, and amenability. That is something I'll be talking about later. Now I'll just say the same thing in Urdu. Majority लोगों को ये लगता है. Is it fine that I only speak English?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, most people believe that they are going to acquire some magic tricks and tips for reading. Yes, I have to tell you about the format of the reading exam. But the problem is, if you are not going to read more, how can you even read to find the answers? It's impossible. It's not something possible. You have to understand it now, and you would see that your reading would start improving. So by the time people are going for the reading exam, I'll tell you there are 3 sections. Most people, 85% of the people are not able to do the third section because they are very
Why
tired.
is that so?
They cannot read it. Their stamina is done. They don't have the stamina. They don't have the power to read anymore. They get exhausted. Their mind is exhausted. They get tired. And then they start guessing. 80 to 85%, according to the examiner report, do not attempt the last section. They run out of time. They don't manage their time. And time management can only be done if you're reading enough. It's not something you will read from a book and say, okay, from today, I'll start managing my time. No, you cannot do it. So everyone, each one of you would be required to read for at least start from 15 to 20 minutes and take it to 1 hour eventually. And I'll be finding out whether you guys are doing it or not. Now, as far as the writing is concerned, that is going to be the last section, and most people end up not getting a very good score on the writing part. The first reason is that by the time, if you woke up at 10 and I ask you to wait and do the exams and you're doing your writing exam at the end, when they reach to the writing exam, they actually don't even want to stay in the room. This is not something I'm making up. When you will take the exam, you will realize it. You will be so much tired that you will say, okay, I want to go now. I don't want to even attempt the writing exam. You will make punctuation errors. You would make mistakes. I'll tell you guys, whenever I think none of you or some of you might have done the mock exams. When we do regular practice, S's are fine. As soon as I tell people, okay, today is a mock exam, they get a pressure, and right after doing listening and reading exam, they make errors which they are telling me later about. They tell me, okay, yes, I know this comma should have not been there. I know that this vocabulary spelling, the spelling is wrong. So this happens at the exam. You inadvertently, which means unintentionally, you will make mistakes, not because you don't know stuff, because you would be that much tired and you would be that much stressed out that you would not be able to get along with that thing. Any problem?
No,
So I
sir.
have a question.
Yeah.
Why do they make us wait for 2 hours before test?
That is something they get to decide. For instance, if you wake up at 10, you go over there, it's a reporting time. Even if you don't want to wait and you go over there late, what would happen?
They won't let us in.
No, they would let you in, but you would actually be you would be having some sort of apprehension, like what if I get late? What if I just don't reach on time? So naturally, everyone would go on time because the exam is a very expensive one. They just don't want to risk it sitting at home. So most probably, the reporting time is 11:30, but most people even go there at 10:30, and they wait for 3 hours. And those 3 hours are very crucial, because if you talk to negative people, negative का मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो बेचारे fail हो गए थे, that they are negative. There are people who would tell you, okay, where are you sitting? From where did you prepare? Okay, why are you doing all that? They would actually deviate you from that path. So you have to stay focused. Get a bar of chocolate or some water. Have some drink with you. Keep yourself hydrated, and when you go inside, you should not be having any kind of negativity. You know your skills, so someone else that cannot tell you about your skills apart from the teacher, right?
Right. One more
Yeah.
question, sir. If we take our cell phones, do we have to? Are we going to be allowed to take cell phones with us, or shall we leave at
I
home?
wasn't able to get you.
I'm saying, can we take cell phones with us, or shall we leave at home?
Samples?
Sir, he's talking
Mobile,
about
cell
mobiles.
phones.
अभी किसने बोला मुझे नहीं पता लगा. Who spoke?
So
सर
I was
हमसे
saying,
पूछ
are
रहे हैं
we
मोबाइल
allowed?
साथ ले जा सकते हैं कि नहीं?
किस चीज को?
सर मोबाइल फोन की बात कर रहे हैं.
अच्छा हाँ, वो
मोबाइल फोन.
okay, cell phone. Okay. If in case you are taking it, you would be required to submit it over there. There is going to be a counter. As soon as you enter the examination hall, on the left side there is a counter. In case you have brought something you were not allowed to bring, they are going to get it from you. They're going to pack it. They're going to give you a number over there. It's going to be your candidate number. When you would be leaving from the examination center, you would be able to collect it. Got it?
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, let's talk about the computer-based exam. Before I move to the computer-based exam, your speaking exam is not going to be, on the same day. It is going to be before or after the exam, and they are not going to specify the date for the speaking exam on the day you register the day you register for your listening, reading, and writing. I'll just give you an example. If Mr. Ansab is taking the exam on 20th June,
Yes, sir.
they have specified you the date, but till now you don't know about the speaking exam. It could
I
be
do know.
you have already registered.
Yes, I do know my speaking
Okay.
date.
Yeah. What
It's
is the date?
18th June.
18th. Are you going for the computer based?
No, I'm going for paper based.
Okay. Did they allow you to do it this time?
Yes, when I re-registered on the website with the new reference number, they called me and they said you're still going to use your old reference number. We have canceled your new registration, so we'll just move your new test date.
Okay. So you chose your date for the speaking exam.
Yes, they let me allow to choose
Okay.
on what day or specific date.
Right now, these are. It's very good that you shared it. Right now, these are different situations, but normally they don't tell or they don't even allow you. For the computer-based exam, they allow you to take it, but for the paper-based exam, they are just going to tell you about 3 to 4 days before the exam or 3 to 4 days after the exam.
No. When I registered on the website, it lets you choose what time and what date.
Was they allowing you on the paper-based exam also? When did you register?
I think the beginning of this month.
Beginning of this month.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
that means they're allowing you now. Previously, they were not allowing like 1.5 months.
यहाँ से आ रही है आवाज? नहीं आ रही.
Like 1.5
They even
months.
they even let you choose time slot.
Yeah, 1.5 months before they weren't allowing you. They were just giving you, specifying you the date on which the exam would be held. That is a feature they were providing only for the computer-based exam, but now they have also done it for the paper-based exam, right?
Speaking test is going to be at Ali Institute on First Road.
Yeah. So please write it down. Previously, they were not allowing you to take the speaking exam date, but now for the last 1.5 months, they are allowing you to take the date. They used to give you the date just 2 to 3 days before the exam. Okay. Are you done? Is everyone has everyone understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want you to have a look at the computer-based exam format. This exam is going to be on 2 dates or 2 days in a week. One is Wednesday and the other one is Sunday. 9 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. So these are the 2 dates, these are the 2 time slots available, 9 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. And they always allow you to choose your speaking date. That is something they're also allowing for the paper-based exam. Now, from the information I have, how many other people are going for the exam in June? How many of you are taking the exam in June? No one else?
No.
Okay. Most probably, Mr. Ansawari there.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
I'm not sure, but most probably, this is what I heard. They are going to switch your paper-based exam and they're going to give you an option to move towards the computer-based if coronavirus doesn't end.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah. So that is something which is, this is something which I was told. They told me that in case it's not going to, they're going to give you an option. In case it doesn't end, they're never going to allow 300 plus or 250 plus people to be in the same venue, but they can allow people to be in the computer lab with about 12 to 15 people. That is how they would be able to maintain social distancing. So this is part of their policy. That is an email, that is not an email, but actually one of person from the British Council told me that if it doesn't end, they have to conduct the exam but they would be doing it
Yes.
with a computer-based exam. So you should be mentally prepared to even take the computer-based
But
exam in case they don't allow you to go for the paper-based.
but the only problem I have with the computer-based exam is my typing speed is not that good.
Yes, that is the reason I'm telling you right now. So you could just work on the typing speed because even if you look at the situation practically, if they allow 200 to 300 people to be in the same place, that is something
Yes.
which is going to spread the coronavirus. But what they have been telling to the government, like when the government did not allow them to conduct the exam, what they said was that okay, just allow us for the computer-based exam, but they were not even allowed to go for the computer-based exam. But now, from June onwards, I hope they don't change it. But they're having a lot of inclination toward moving everyone towards the computer-based exam.
Sir,
Okay,
what are the advantages and
this is
disadvantages
something
between
I'll be telling you
computer-based and
right now.
paper-based?
Yes, right now I'll be telling you. If you are talking about the speaking exam, even for the computer-based exam, it is not going to be like TOEFL where you would record your answer. In TOEFL, you record your answer on the computer. There is no examiner, right? On TOEFL, you record your answers on the computer. There is no examiner. On speaking exam, for both computer-based and paper-based, there is going to be examiner. When it comes to the listening exam, that is where people get the disadvantage. How many listening exams do you have for paper-based exam on internet? I think more than 100, right?
Any
They're innumerable, right? When it comes to the computer-based exam, there are only 2 or 3 softwares which are available, which means even if you're very good at listening, you might not perform really well on the exam because you don't have enough practice material. It's not about doing it on the PDF form. It's about writing it down, typing it on the computer. So people they have not given enough material as far as the listening is concerned.
well, I have a question.
Yeah.
On computer-based,
Yes.
is it going to be a countdown? Like, if you miss the one part, can you go back or you can't?
No, you can never go back. It's basically like
Because on paper-based, you can always look back.
you can always look back, but the invigilator is always going to come to you and ask you not to do it. In the listening,
Okay.
in the computer-based exam, when the audio ends, you won't be allowed to go back to it. There's one more thing you have
Okay.
to remember that for the paper-based exam, you will get 10 extra minutes. For the computer-based exam, you will get only 2 extra minutes to just look at your answers. Fine?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you don't have enough material. Then comes the reading exam. If you are going for the computer-based exam, you would have an advantage. You would have an advantage because on one side of the screen, you will have your reading passage, and on the other side of the screen, you will have your questions. On the paper-based exam, हम तो ये करते हैं ना, please have a look at this page. What people normally do is that वो stapler यहाँ से निकालते हैं and they're just looking at the page and finding it. In the actual exam, it is a booklet. It has been stapled. You can't just put these, you cannot just separate the papers. So you have to go back, move back and forth in order to find the answers. On the reading exam, in the computer-based exam, you will have one side as what? You will have the reading passage in front of you, and on the other side, you will have the questions. So you can always look at the passage without moving any page. Fine?
Yes.
So that is going to be an advantage. The last part is going to be the writing part. It's not going to be a Microsoft Word document in which they're going to tell you, okay, you have made this mistake of comma. The problem with the computer-based exam is that people don't have typing speed, but the advantage
Yes,
is
sir.
they end up with a very good score because they don't have to erase it. They can just backspace, they can just delete it in a very convenient manner. So computer-based people end up scoring really well on the computer-based writing module because they can type, they can put ideas according to the way they want to. In the paper-based exam, you have to do it with a pencil and you're constantly just dubbing it, right?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
As you mentioned earlier that they're not going to be writing exam on the Word, Microsoft Word. That's what I had in mind. If you type incorrect spelling, you will automatically get an error. But since they're not going to take on Microsoft Word, so what is it going to be? A notepad or WordPad?
Yeah, it's something which they have generated their its own. It's generated by Ielts. It's a
So it will not. So it
they're
will
not,
not highlight any errors.
no, they're not going to highlight any errors. They're going to not highlight any errors. So if you are writing something down, that is the reason I have provided you guys that billion essays website,
Yes.
which you can put your essays. But also remember one thing, that if you guys are using a software called Grammarly, are you using it?
Yes,
No,
I've
sir.
heard about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
don't use it.
Yes, sir. I'm using it.
Grammarly, if you want to see how it works, you could go to Grammarly. It's going to, first of all, it does not talk about all the mistakes which had been committed. It's basically having fixation with articles and. That is, those are the mistakes they normally want to take out. But the other thing is, when they are going to work on when you're going to work with Grammarly, even if you are writing something down, you would not learn because all of a sudden they'll just underline it and you'll just make them rectify the error. So always do it on billion S's rather than on Microsoft Word. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I want you guys to now have a look at
So,
the
so I have
exam.
one more question.
Yeah.
When you do paper-based exam, after 2 weeks you get the result.
Yeah.
What if you do computer-based? So it is going to be the same,
It's going to be
or you get the result?
5 to 7 days.
Okay.
And
All right.
there's no point, I just want to tell you guys, there's no point of taking that ICE indicator exam because most organizations are not even going to accept it. There's something which they have been advertising a lot, ICE indicator. So now
No, so I haven't heard about it. What is it?
Not yet, sir.
ICE indicator is an exam which they have introduced, which you can attempt at home. It's simply going to tell you where you're standing as far as your speaking, listening, reading, and writing is concerned. They are perhaps charging about, I'm not sure, but it was like 70 Australian dollars. I'm not sure how many US dollars it would be. It's perhaps, I'll just share the details with you on the group also. So they're charging you about 15 to 16,000 rupees, or perhaps even 25 to 30,000. I'm not very sure. But most organizations are not going to accept it because it's not the official exam. Got it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Now, let's start with a short introduction of the modules. Please take out your handbook in which all these were mentioned. The 4 components of the IELTS test. Please take it out. It was the first document which was shared. There were 5 documents which I shared. This is the first document. Please take it out.
Which one?
It's related to the IELTS handbook. IELTS handbook.
Basic English level.
मैं जब मटेरियल शेयर करता हूँ तो उसके साथ 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5. This is something I shared like 2 days ago or 1 day ago. It was mentioning 1 out of 5. It is a detailed,
Yes, sir. Ielts information for candidates.
yes, IELTS information for candidates. Please take it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, for the listening exam, for the last 9 years, AEO, which is called the Australian Education Office, was providing speakers. I've been teaching now for the last 10 years. AEO was offering speakers, but now both AEO and British Council are providing headphones. Please note it down. So both AEO and British Council will provide you headphones. There are going to be 40 questions, 4 sections, and this thing is going to last for 30 minutes. You would be having 10 extra minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. You would be
So
having,
here it says,
yes, what does it
so
say?
here it says the time you will be allowed is 14 minutes.
14?
Yes,
30 minutes.
14 minutes.
30 minutes.
Oh, okay,
40.
that was for speaking.
40 yes.
40
Listening,
questions.
yes, 30 minutes. Okay.
It's going to be 30 minutes. It's going to be 10 extra minutes, and it's not always going to be 30 minutes. It could be like 33 minutes, sometimes 34 minutes, sometimes 35 minutes, sometimes 29 minutes. So 40 questions, 4 sections, 30 minutes, and 10 extra minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. On the computer-based exam, you don't have to transfer your answers to the answer sheet because we have already chosen them. Got it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Move on to the reading exam. For the reading exam, there are going to be 2 modules and they're going to be different. Listening is going to be exactly the same. Now, how many of you are for journal training? I'm not sure, but I'll just share a document with you guys today for the journal training one only related to letters so that you could read it. For journal
I am doing general training. So.
you would be having different reading exams, but there would be 3 sections, 40 questions, and you would be having 60 minutes. Mr. Ahmed Taha.
Yes, sir.
So how many questions are there going to be for the reading exam?
So there will be 40 questions.
And there would be 3 sections and there would be 60 minutes. I
Yes,
believe
sir.
most of you are going for the exam for the academic one. This is something, or some of you might also be going for the journal training one. I just want you guys to write it down right now. Please attempt 10 reading exams for the journal training one, even if you are for academic, so that you could understand how reading is going to be done. Don't make that mistake of going towards very difficult thing. For instance, if I'm teaching someone GRE and if someone does not know about coordinate geometry, I'm not going to make that person do GRE questions from Manhattan 5 pound. I'm going to make that person work from the very basics to make that person understand how to get the slope, how to get the midpoint and all those things. So please try to understand that don't make the mistake of going towards the harder ones. You have time, you have enough time these days. Just simply do one thing. When I'm going to share the reading exams, it doesn't matter. नहीं फर्क पड़ता कि आप academic के हैं या नहीं है. Do the journal training one first. वो जरा आसान होते हैं. You will understand the format of the exam better. But after 3-4 days, you will move towards the same module. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would be explaining the difference between these two at a later stage. I think it would be in the third or the fourth lecture. I'm not sure when I'm supposed to do it, but I would just specify something about the exam. As far as journal training is concerned, it is having 3 sections, and academic is also having 3 sections. Journal training will have passages, 2 short passages, and the last one would be a longer passage. Academic will have all of them, which are going to be longer passages. Did you guys understand or not?
Yes, sir.
If you are appearing for the exam, for the journal training one, you will have a shorter passage. Thoda padna padega. You'll have to read less. English would also be simple. For the second one, you will again be required to read less. For the second section, again you will have 2 short passages. Both of them would be from a magazine or they would be from any kind of editorial. But the last one is going to be a longer passage. It is going to be a longer passage. So in case you want to improve your performance on the longer passage, you would be required to read or do or attempt from the academic version so that you could understand things better. So I'll just specify, if you are going for the journal training version, and I think most people going for journal training would be requiring CLB 9, you would be required to get 34 out of 40 in order to achieve 7 band. I would also be sharing the table for the band descriptors. मतलब जो scoring का आपका होता है, that is a document which I would also be sharing. But if you want to achieve 7, you have to get 34 questions right out of 40 in order to achieve that. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Zainab Ali, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Are you going for the academic version or the journal training one?
Academic.
Okay. So if you are going for the academic one, unless you are a voracious reader, Mr.
Yes.
Answer, what is the meaning of voracious?
One who's eager to read.
Someone who does it extensively. Voracious reader is
Yes.
someone who reads a lot. Unless you are a voracious reader, I would require all of you to attempt journal training exams first for 3-4 days. Do about 10 exams. And then, now, what's the point of coming right now? Someone is trying to enter the classroom right now. Okay. If you want to go for the academic version, you are required to get at least 30 out of 40 to get 7 band. Please write it down. I would be giving you a detailed layout of the marking so that you know where you're standing. Now, this is the reason. After we are done with this, we'll be meeting 3 weekends. We'll be and some people might not even get the opportunity. So I think, Mr. Ansab, I'll just give you those reading exams. I'll perhaps call you at my home and I'll give them to you.
All right, sir. No problem.
So I have your number. If anyone else is also, I cannot call all of you because if something happens, they'll come and arrest me for spreading coronavirus. But if it is one student, I can just call that person and give him the reading exams. If someone is taking the exam in June, you have to tell me right now, because then it would be very hard for you to come later. Move on. Have a look at the writing exam. Writing task 2. For the writing task 2, you are required, for writing task 2, you are required to write down more than 250 words, more than 250 words in 40 minutes, and please write it down. It is going to be the same. It is going to be the same for academic and general training. Writing task 2, writing down an essay, is going to be the same for academic and general training. Now, can you write down more than 300 words? A question, Mr. Ahmed Taha. Can you write down more than 300 words?
Yes, sir. For sure, I can write more than 300 words.
Yes, you can write down 300, you can write down 325, you can write down 350, you can write down 360, you can write down 400. But you have to ensure that you never write less than 250 words. If you write less than 250 words, you are going to end up losing your marks. They're going to deduct at least one band for writing less than 250. Even if it is 249, they're going to penalize you. Got it?
Yes, sir.
This part is worth 66% of your score. There are two tasks. One is writing task 1 and the other one is writing task 2. Writing task 2 is worth 66% of your score. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And you have to write an essay. Tomorrow's class is going to be important because I've already given you guys a format or the layout of all those things we would be doing in one lecture. In tomorrow's class, we would be working on essay topics. Sorry. And we would also be working on how to write down a body paragraph and all those things. Now this is going to be 66% of your score. You would be having 40 minutes to do it in the actual exam. If you won't remember it, please write it down. You are not required to do only writing task 1. You have to do writing task 1 and writing task 2. For task 1, they will give you 20 minutes to write it down, and you would be required to write down in more than 150 words. Task 2 is going to be the same for both of them. Task 1 is going to be different, and that is something I'll be telling you later in the next 2-3 minutes. But when you go in the examination center, they will give you a total of 60 minutes. They can only recommend you to spend 40 minutes. It is entirely up to you whether you spend 40 minutes on this one or even 35 minutes on this one. It is entirely up to you whether you attempt task 1 first or task 2. ये आप पे होता है कि आप task 1 पहले attempt कर लें या आप task 2 करें. They cannot come to you and say to you, do task 1 first and do task 2 first. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir.
The other thing is, they cannot even force you. They cannot even force you to spend 40 minutes on task 2. Some people might spend 30 minutes on task 2. Some people might spend 45 minutes on task 2. But they recommend you to spend 40 minutes on task 2 and they recommend you to spend 20 minutes on task 1. That is how they are going to ensure that you are doing things according to the manner which was required. Let's move on to task 1 for academic version first. For writing task 1, academic version, you have 20 minutes and you have to write down at least 150 words. You have to write a report on a graph, table, map, chart, or a diagram. We would be working on each one of them. But we are not going to get the option to choose one of them in the exam. What does that mean? It means if you have chosen one type of question, if you are given one type of question, you have to attempt that one. When we will prepare, we are going to do everything possible. When we are going to prepare, we are going to do everything possible to prepare on all of them. But on the actual exam, they will just give you one of them. They don't give you options. So there are going to be 5 different types of questions. But in the real exam, you will get only one type of question and you'll have to write down 150 words on it, and you would be required to spend 20 minutes on it. Any problem? Miss Asma, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any problem with this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Writing task 1, that this was for academic. Now for the journal training one. Now for the journal training one, you have to write a letter, and there are going to be 3 types of letters. You have informal, formal, and semi-formal letters. Again, they are not going to give you any option. They are not going to give you any option. They are simply going to require you to write a letter, and when you'll understand and when you'll get the material, you will have an understanding on what type of letter is informal, what is formal, and what is a semi-formal. That is a document which I would be sharing right after I'm done with this one. I'm going to go towards Facebook. I'm going to repeat all of these things in a very concise manner. If you want to attend it, you can. If you don't want to, you can just tell me. I think it would be better that I also record that one, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can also attend that one. Now, move to the next one, which is going to be the speaking part. Today, I would be sharing with you guys speaking part 1, speaking part 2, and speaking part 3 notes on the group. I want you guys to start reading about them because this week I'm going to conduct your speaking individual exam. So please also have a look at them. Now for the speaking exam, 11 to 14 minutes, there are going to be 3 sections, part 1, part 2, and part 3. I'll come to Mr. Ansab now. Why is it that they're saying that it would be like 11 to 14 minutes?
I just read in the PDF document.
No, yes, why?
They're saying-
Why someone would be having an exam of 11 minutes and someone would be having an exam of 14 minutes?
Maybe if someone wants to prolong.
Yes, it's not even 11 minutes. Like when the academy was open, like 5 to 6 people used to come every day and used to tell me about the experience they had with this speaking exam. Some people even end their exams in 8 minutes. Some people speak for like 16 to 17 minutes. It depends on how extended your answers are. It's not related to the examiner. Yes, the examiner might stop you before you want to stop, but the examiner does not have that much power to stop you if you want to speak. Some people give very short answers and they'll come and they'll tell me, we were done with our exams in 8 minutes. And I'll tell, okay, what did I tell you? I wanted you to extend your answers. And they'll say, well, we weren't just feeling like speaking more. So for this part, you would be going into the examination center. It's going to be a examiner who could be a Pakistani or a foreigner. That person is going to ask you questions from 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. In part 1, it is going to be a dialogue, which means that person is going to ask you questions. In part 2, it is going to be a monologue in which they are going to give you a topic and you would be required to speak on that topic for 2 minutes and you would be given 1 minute to prepare on it. And for part 3, you would be required to answer some follow-up questions. For part 3, you would be required to answer some follow-up questions. The marking is going to be done from 0 to 9 with an increment of 0.5 band. I want you to have a look at the first page. It was given. Not sure what page was it.
So what are these kind of follow-up questions?
Sorry?
In part 3, what are these kind of follow-up questions?
Follow-up questions. For instance, if I give you, what is your favorite movie in part 2? मैं आपको कहता हूँ कि talk about your favorite movie. Now, in part 3, आपने बोल दिया, मैं आपको कहूँगा, do you like to watch movies in the cinema or at home? Do you believe that your movie preferences have changed over the years? What kind of movies do people in your country watch? तो ये उसी के follow movies के बारे में extra आपसे questions पूछे जा रहे हैं, right?
Okay, it will be related.
Yes, it would be
to part 2.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to move to the last document. Move to the last document for today, which is the study plan. Some of you might get daunted by it. What do I mean by being daunted by it? It means that when you are going to have a look at this, you'll say, okay, how can I do that much? If you can't do that much, you have to think practically. I'm not going to be someone who is just going to flood you with work and you might end up doing nothing. But you have to come up with a pragmatic approach. I know it and you also know it that even if you're working somewhere, you might not be working at your full capacity because half of the businesses are just not allowed to operate in Pakistan or in the world. So let's have a look at this one. Mr. Athar, I want you to read the first 5 things.
Okay, sir.
Take out your document for Ielts study plan.
Yes, sir. Read one article from a newspaper, Washington Post or New York Times.
Yes.
Read one essay and submit.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll read it for you. Very good. I just wanted to confirm that all of you have it. Number 1, read one article from a newspaper. Why am I asking you to read it from a foreign newspaper? You will understand things at a very, I would say, at a very easy level if you do it from a national newspaper, because you will know the names of the people and you would also know what was the news. So I want you to do it from a foreign newspaper. I want you to read one article every day from Washington Post. You can search it, and I want you to give me a summary of 2 to 3 lines every day and send it to me on billionessays.com.
Sorry, sir, but I didn't get a username and password for Billion Essay.
Okay, if you have not gotten it, I'm going to, I actually did it 6 weeks ago. In case you don't have it, I'm going to ask you for your email addresses in the group right now. You'll write down your names and I'll generate it for you. Fine?
Okay, sir.
I would also be sharing. There were some people who were even in the first week or the second week. Some people already know about the essay. I would be sharing essay topics today. Although we would be working on it tomorrow, I'm sharing it so that people who know about the essays could start submitting them. Now, the third one, read aloud a newspaper or a book for 30 minutes. आप में से जो speaking नहीं कर सकते, आपने आधे घंटे के लिए कोई newspaper or any kind of thing you want to, I want you guys to read it every day for 30 minutes. Your jaws and your tongue have to get accustomed to speaking English. So before I conduct your speaking exam, I want each one of you to speak for 30 minutes every day, you will feel that you would get comfortable at speaking. Number 4, find 5 facts in a day. What is the meaning of this? On IELTS exam, you are allowed to make up some examples, right? For essays.
Yeah.
Mr. Ahmed Taha,
Yes, sir.
how many cars are there in the world?
How many words, sir? I didn't get.
How many cars do we have in this world?
Sir, there are several cars, man. I mean, these are countless.
What if I told you there are 1 billion cars?
Maybe you have counted them.
No, I don't have confidence. I just read it. So from now onwards, do you see the topic, the common IELTS topics?
Yes, sir.
I want you to find facts related to these things. I'm going to write down some other facts also. For instance, you might not have that much data related to Pakistan, but as far as Britain and USA is concerned, you'll get a lot of data from it. For instance, if you're talking about vegetarianism, do you know what percentage of the population in this world does not eat meat? पता है आपको?
No, sir.
ये सब चीजें अगर थोड़ा सा भी सर्च करें ना, so I want you to get 5 facts, and from tomorrow onwards, you'll start sharing them on the group. Okay. Number 5, work on 90 similar words in a day. I would be sharing a document with you guys, which is going to be related to similar words. That is something we used to do in the classroom. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And you were required to write down the meanings of those words. Every day you have to do one. अगर आप 2 दिन में कर सकते हैं तो उसको 2 दिन में कर लें. I don't want you guys to overburden yourself. अगर आप इन दिनों में नहीं कर सकते, if in case you're working, just do it on the weekend. The second thing is watch an episode of an English season. Are you guys watching Netflix these days?
Yes, sir.
What are you watching?
Yes, sir.
I would be giving you a list. All those people
I am watching season.
would end up with a very low score on the listening exam. Then number 7 we have done. Number 8 I have talked about. Number 9, work on your basic English. How many of you are having problems with grammar? How many of you are having problems with grammar? No one?
No, sir.
Sir, some sort of.
Sort of? Okay. Like 7 years ago, I made like about 120 videos, and I never published them because I was that much busy in all these things. I'm going to share both those channels. One is going to be for you, Pacans, and the other one is going to be for Pacans Online. I'm going to share an English grammar course, which I did like 7 years ago, and it is having 120 videos. In case you want to watch them, it would help you revise your tenses, prepositions, and everything. Fine?
Okay.
Fine, sir.
Number 10 and 11, that is something we would be doing in the next 2 days. Number 12, read 5 articles. If you want to do it, you could. 13, work on your complex sentences. Right after this class, I'm going to share a quiz with you. I want you guys to do it and tell me what you got. Because if you do not get a very good score, I have to do all those complex sentences again. If you remember, just say although, because, all that stuff, I'll have to do it again. 14, work on linking devices. That is something we would be doing. I would also be sharing it with you. Words like moreover, furthermore. I want you to make.
Yes, sir. In addition to.
Yes. Read at least 10 sample essays in a day. Please write it down. There is a website which is a very good website. It's not very popular, but it is one of the best websites from where you can find sample essays. This is something I want you guys to do from today. Go to this website. This is not my website. Howtodoielts.com. It has amazing essays. A lot of people would talk about other popular ones. When you will go to this website, you will realize how well written these essays are as far as the band descriptors are concerned. Got it? So every day you are going to read about 5 to 10 sample essays so that your mind actually starts understanding the format of the exam. Got it?
Yes, sir.
16, read at least 5 writing task 1 sample answers in a day. Then you have find a speaking partner. That is something I'll be making you guys do after 2 days. Work on your speaking questions. I'm going to share speaking part 1, speaking part 2, and speaking part 3 notes. I want you to start working on them. Attempt vocabulary quizzes. How many of you want to develop your advanced vocabulary? No one?
Yes,
I
me too.
want to.
Okay, I would be sharing those quizzes with you guys so that you could
Okay.
work on them. And the last one is wait for your mock exams. If you are not having an exam right now, don't just, if in case you're having an exam, I'll give you those material, but in case you're not having an exam, I would be providing you 3 weekends, which would be Saturday, Sunday, when I would be coming only for this session in Gulberg branch or in the township branch, in which we would work on the mock exams, because we would cover everything, but we won't be able to do mock exams on the computer. Fine.
Yes, sir.
That is
Okay.
going to be the end of the class. I'm now going to move towards Facebook Live. I want you, in case you want to do all these things, not all of them, but some of the important things again, I would be there. In case you don't want to, that is going to be the end of the class. I just want to reiterate the importance of everything we did today. What are you supposed to do? You're going to read the document for Ielts information so that you know about the format. The second thing is you are going to start reading the material provided to you, which is going to be related to what? You have to start reading 10 essays in a day. You have to start reading articles. You have to start working on your complex sentences. You have to start working on your
Vocabulary.
coherence and cohesion. Then you have to write down paragraphs, which means you have to submit those paragraphs on Billion Essays. If you don't have Billion Essays account, I'm going to generate it for you after you send me your email address. And most important thing, if you have forgotten essential grammar things, I'm going to share a playlist with you, which will be having 120 videos, which I made like 6-7 years ago. You can watch them so that you could actually understand. This is an IELTS exam, IELTS class, so I'm not going to work on grammar, very basic grammar, but I'm going to share those videos in case you want to revise them. Tomorrow's class.
Thank you.
In tomorrow's class, we would be working on Introduction to Writing Task 2 Band Descriptors. We would be working on brainstorming, organization structure, and writing. We would learn how to write a body paragraph, and I would be sharing you the details related to it by tomorrow morning. That is going to be the end of the session. Would all of you attend also the Facebook one, or everyone would just leave?
So I have a question actually too.
Yeah.
First is, why does IELTS test have a validity period? And
Yes, it's going to be
second one,
2 years.
yes. But I was asking, why does it have validity period?
Why? They believe that in 2 years, a person might actually enhance his or her skills, or his or her skills might even deteriorate. So what they believe is that, I believe a person's skills can be enhanced at like in a span of 3 months, but they believe that after every but after every 2 years a person should be taking the exam, because then a person will be able to know where that person is standing, right?
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. See you guys tomorrow at 9:30. From tomorrow onwards, you guys would be required to join at the time which has been specified, which is 9:30. If you are going to come late, I might not even put you into the meeting, because there would be no point of coming late and then attending the last 25 to 30 minutes only. Okay, let's move to the next
Okay, sir.
platform now. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.